Hey, how's it going, all you lovely people at Door Shutter, coming back to you with a brand new episode of Craftoria, and today we are getting into some shenanigans here. So, the SBS chamber, I want to get into this today, but I'm trying to remember the shape of this thing. I'm looking at some videos here, so I think I've got the shape. I think it's just like this. So this is 7 by 7 in the center, and then you just kind of have 3 on each side, then 1 in the middle, and then we're going to grab some reactor glass. So we actually did run out of energy in our main system again. We still are having so many power problems, so I've actually tapped into the current fusion reactors, just because I think this is probably a good idea. It looks like we're actually full again, so we had reserves, basically, and it only pulled like 2 million. So one thing that I always don't like about Powa is the amount of limits that mod has put on itself, because this can only pull in 2 million right now, and that is really limiting. Flux Networks is probably our best option to improve that, but right now I really don't want to look at that just because I want to get this done. But I think once we get this completed, I think the Flux Networks is going to be our next stop, because we really need to improve our power gen, our power setup, basically anything and everything. So yeah, that was necessary to drain our entire system, because we actually have all speed upgrades on the DT fuel production line now, which means that we are able to run all 4 of these fusion reactors off of that independent system. So that is pretty nuts. It's a lot of energy running through that, but I think it's worth it. So that way we're able to run all of these. Man, I didn't realize I was doing overkill. Whenever I was starting this, I was kind of just like, it's not that much. It's a lot. Do I have any more casings? Did I just make this wrong? I think I may have done something wrong, but we'll just grab like 32 more of these guys. Oh, nope. Can I grab any more? Well, let's just get our ports placed down here. And I think actually what we can do is we can place down glass on the top. And I think that should limit the amount that we're actually using here. And we can actually do that here as well, it looks like. The one good thing about a lot of multi-blocks is you can kind of interchange the like walls on a lot of Mekanism multi-blocks, which is pretty cool. You don't have to use reactor glass. So we'll just give this a go. And I think this one also lets you do structural glass as well. So if you didn't want to do reactor glass, if you didn't like this, like the gray transparency on these blocks, you could actually just opt out and go for the structural glass, which is kind of a cool thing in general, because you don't see that a lot. Okay, and then we just need to do... fill in the gaps. Okay, so that is completed. Let's actually get inside and actually complete this fully, because that's not completed, by the way. It's just, we gotta do a couple more pieces here. And then we need to grab our coils, which I think I crafted. Yes, 4 supercharged coils. And that should be golden. Okay. And then we're gonna grab a tube. I want to grab at least one more set of these. The pipe in the polonium. Okay. So polonium has filled this up. And then we're going to grab some cables. I probably want to use... I probably want to grab some more of these. Because I think we'll just run them directly. We're a little off, right? I think we're like 1 block shorter. Yeah, that's what it looks like. So we'll have to go straight and then up. Just shut that thing off for a second so we can actually hear ourselves think. Goodness gracious, we've already made 700 millibuckets. That's insane. And I guess we actually do technically need to do an output. Can we actually off-center an SBS port? I don't think I've ever done that. We can try it. Just see what happens. Like, just set it right here. Okay, that does work. Beautiful. And then we can grab, like, a chemical tank, I think is what technically antimatter is. Yes. Well, that's SBS, but the problem now, I think we're... Oh, I guess we're not tanking, really. Because now we don't have enough polonium to keep up with this. So, our problem now is polonium. Okay. Just one issue after another, but I think this is enough energy for the SBS chamber to do what it needed to, because you guys just saw how quickly it made 700 millibuckets. That's the fastest I've ever seen antimatter be made in any capacity. So that is beautiful, but this is working. It is. It's just we've got to iron out some of the other kinks, which is the reactor system. Man, that is nuts. And it looks like if we keep this the way it is right now, we will be just golden to keep our power connected to this and everything. Because every so often we're having like a 400 million spike. Is that 400 million or is that 40 million? I think it's 40 million FE, I think is what it shows. And then, of course, we're making 80 million. Kind of looks like we're making a little bit less than 80 million. But that, I mean, that's good. It means we have like half of, like, we have a lot of wiggle room is what I'm thinking. Okay. So let's hop, skip, and jump over to the mechanism area. Just real quick. Check how everything's going. So DT fuel production is at max, which is beautiful. You guys can see, yeah, this is speed, energy. Actually, so it looks like we're conserving a lot of energy right now because we aren't actually using this, which is beautiful to see. All of these are completely full. So the biggest thing we need to look at is definitely more polonium. And this is not making enough polonium to actually do anything for us, really. What to do? What to do? I would love to increase the burn rate. But I also know that can cause a lot of issues. So we just gotta kind of monitor this. So we're getting more superheated sodium. We're still keeping up with this. Because I know if we do like 45, this whole thing starts to tank after a few minutes. You can see. So 42. Okay, so 41 looked like it may have been a sweet spot. Nope. So 40. Nope, not that. 40 is where we have been. So what I think we need to do is we need to make this cool down quicker, but I don't know if there's a way to do that. I mean, we could introduce a secondary boiler, but the problem is we're not maxing out the tank here, right? The boil rate is 400, almost 400,000 millibuckets per tick. Would it be possible to increase the amount of superheated, like the coils down there at the bottom? Let's scram this for a second. I'm going to let this kind of just equal out for a second. Because I don't want to accidentally just have this thing explode because high temps all of a sudden. But let me just let this cool down. I'm going to see if adding more coils to the bottom, maybe 2 rows, increases the max boil. Because I think the max boil is where we're bottoming. And if we actually can get that higher, I think we should be good, but I also don't know. So we're going to test around. I'll just get back to you with the results. If it does nothing, oh well. If it does something for us, fantastic. Okay, so I think that adding more layers was kind of pointless, but actually our max boil is higher now. I don't know if it was really just adding new ports is probably the best option, because I think that's kind of where it really changed for whenever I was experimenting around with this. I'm actually just going to add more ports in general. But we're up to 45. So I'm going to try 50. Okay, so we're still good there. Our max boil point is 409. So that looks like it's our max right there. I've also added a couple more things where we're actually pushing out more sodium. I think this is looking okay. Let's just go check down here. Okay, so we're actually tanking on that. So let's go 48. Okay, so lower. 45. Back down. Okay, so we are still not doing good on this. So let's go 40. Okay, so that should get us back to where we are. I don't know. Because, yeah, we're just, like, not pushing out enough sodium out of this. But we have plenty of sodium. So what I'm going to try is actually doing this instead. And just do... I'm going to get the... just pipes, just direct connections. And maybe that will help us. Because I think this chemical tank might be a good idea, but I don't know. So let's try... So we're back. Temperature's doing good. Let's try 50 one more time. So I want to keep an eye on this, realistically. It looks like sodium is keeping up. And so we're actually up almost 500,000 on max boil right now. Looks like we're keeping up there. So if I put more ports down, I feel like we definitely could get this to go even higher. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mess with this a little bit more. Add some more ports, kind of just keep that idea going, and see if we can actually just get this to be maybe 100 millibuckets. I want to go high as I can to get as much polonium as possible. And I think we're kind of headed in that direction. We just kind of need to keep pushing it until we know we're at like max or something along those lines. All right, so we're keeping pushing this. I'm at 80. I'm going to try 90. Kind of keeping an eye on both of these. So we're gaining a lot of sodium. We are actively losing a lot of sodium. So let's push this back to 80. So we're gaining again. So I basically just need to just port so much on this thing. I think what I'm going to try and do is probably just grab a handful more of these ports and try and maybe just push them to the other end. We're still doing good on water, it looks like. Your water's full. Steam is doing okay. So I'm going to scram this. I'm going to add more ports. So I'm just kind of just testing and giving you guys an update. So we're at 80. That's kind of where our stopping point is for now. And then we'll just kind of keep pushing it. And hopefully we'll get to 100. That is the end goal here. And I think we can achieve that. I don't think that's going to be the hardest the hardest thing to do. And I hope that actually will get us a lot of polonium. Really, I hope that does. I also hope that we're actually keeping up with fissile fuel, because I actually have not checked that. Let's go check that real quick. So we're at 80, and yeah, we are decreasing a lot on the fissile fuel front. And how are we doing with like uranium? We are 1.4 million. I think we're still steady on that, so that's good. I may want to look at trying to improve this a little bit, maybe, if we can. Because I know right here is where we have very little speed upgrades. If we were to increase those speed upgrades, I think the uranium hexafluoride would follow and then be able to actually give us more fissile fuel. So yeah, this is our bottleneck right here, is having no speed upgrades. Maybe with the power we are getting from the fusion reactors, maybe we can increase that. I might give that a go off camera and just kind of see what happens. But yeah, just a little progress update. We are kind of bottlenecking on fissile fuel now. So we're kind of seeing that we are able to do certain things. We just need to be able to speed upgrade as much as possible. So definitely some good stuff. Definitely. All right, so I've been messing around with this for way too long. I think right now we're kind of stuck at 82, 81, kind of around about that area. I have done some more work and kind of tried to get as much going as possible. there's most likely a better way to do this. I've actually started adding more sodium back into the loop so that way these pipes can actually be filled. That hasn't really worked out, so I'm just going to let this go. We're going to do 80 millibuckets a tick. The fissile fuel is cruising still. With everything, it's got upgrades. It's beautiful. We've got a full tank down here, 131 millibuckets. It looks like we're starting to gain on this side as well. So definitely some good stuff. But yeah, the polonium is kind of where we're looking. So let's hop back over to the overworld and quickly go check out our fusion reactors and kind of see where antimatter is at. Because I haven't checked on this in a minute. I've been just dealing with that. Hey, that's not good. Crap. What do we do about that? Because I did not think about spawning into this thing. Well, shucks. Hold on. If there's a way for me to do, like, a pickaxe and maybe break the SPS chamber when I spawn in, that might be our best option. And let's quickly grab pocket, or what is it called? Compacting personal shrinking device. We need another one of these to actually access this, because the other one's in the other dimension. Okay. So we just spawn in, immediately look down. Okay, I think we're good. So let's get out of here. We'll place that block back, place these block backs, and let's also quickly just go off to a corner here and set the actual spawn point. I kind of forgot about that, because it's been a minute since I've used compacting machines, so that's rough. Okay. We have the ability to make one pellet. This whole time we've got one pellet. Oh, this is going to be awful. But we still have plenty of power. We're still gaining on that, so that's definitely a good thing. So, can I grab a tier upgrade for Supreme? So we don't actually have that auto-craftable. Okay, let's get that going. Because I'm pretty sure we're going to need those anyway. Okay. So I'm going to upgrade this to a Supreme. I don't think we'll worry about doing the antimatter pellets just yet, because there's no real point in just doing one. We need a lot more than one to do anything. Yeah, because Mekanism Extra requires 200 millibuckets per enriched shining, which enriched shining is the anti-protonic nuclear synthesizer. Goodness gracious, that's a long word. That plus enriched thermonuclear. Okay. And that gets us the enriched shining. The enriched shining is the next tier. And then from there you go from the enriched spectrum, and then the enriched spectrum gets you spectrum alloy, and I think this is all the infinite tiers. So, yeah, some stuff that we're going to be waiting on. But I think we're going to wrap this episode up here. I know this episode really wasn't that eventful, but this is kind of a focus on the SPS casing, seeing if we can get polonium to be more effective, more efficient. Definitely did not happen as much as I would like. Maybe we could make another reactor. I don't really want to do that. Maybe we could expand upon our sodium production again and just see if that may work, but yeah, I'm not 100% sure. But there is the Supreme Chemical Tank and power generation solved. Thank you guys so much for watching. Stay awesome, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. Bye-bye.